Today I will explain the lore for every single boss in Roblox Blocktails, starting with number 1, Red and Blue. Red and Blue are the first bosses players will encounter in the prologue, and their design and personalities were inspired by Blue Goomba and Red Goomba from Paper Mario. You'll first see them outside of Roblox HQ beating up and bullying Shedletsky, which immediately sets the tone for what kind of characters they are. These troublemakers can be found on floor 9 of the pit and on the Bizville train, where they're trying to defeat their abusive parents, Green and Blue. Both Red and Blue sport R6 avatars that perfectly match their names. Blue rocks a dark blue torso, bright blue pants, and baby blue arms, while Red is basically the same design, just painted red. Red has 7 HP and wields the 7-spin slash, which allows him to approach the player, wind his sword back, and spin it at you, dealing 1 damage. Blue has 6 HP and her signature move is Blue Leg Stab, where she approaches and raises her sword before stabbing it into the player's leg for 1 damage. What makes this duo really dangerous are their combined moves. Duo Slice has both of them approaching, with Red pushing Blue into the air while she spins, dealing 2 damage and completely ignoring any defense you might have. Duo Stab is even nastier, where they both attack to stab the player for a hefty 4 damage. Their passive ability, Revenge, activates whenever one of them goes down, giving the remaining fighter attack up level 1 for the rest of the battle. The tragic backstory behind Red and Blue reveals they were taught criminality by their abusive parents, Green and Purple, which resulted in their uncle Nubador taking custody of them. This explains why they're seen bullying others. It's all they know. Helping Red and Blue defeat their abusive parents actually gives you Call Red and Blue card, allowing you to use them as allies in future battles. Their personalities are complete opposites. Red is prideful but forgets everything, while Blue is frightful but has an excellent memory. Number 2, Nubador. Speaking of their uncle, Nubador is the last boss players will encounter in the prologue, and his design is inspired by the accessory Noob Attack Luchador. His name cleverly combines Noob and Luchador, and he may even be inspired by King Goomba from Paper Mario. This wrestling uncle first appears at the end of the prologue, then shows up on floor 49 of the pit, and lastly on the Bizville train where he gets knocked out by Green and Purple. Nubador genuinely does his best to protect Red and Blue from their parents. He only fights the player because Red and Blue snitched on you, but after you help them on the Bizville train, his opinion of you changes to be much more positive. The guy sports an R6 body with yellow skin, no shirt, red pants, and a distinctive red mask that exposes his eyes and mouth, very much like the classic luchador look. With 15 HP, Nubador brings some serious wrestling moves to the fight. His elbow drop has him walking up to you and performing a classic wrestling elbow drop that deals 3 damage and makes you dizzy for 2 turns. His Superball toss is where things get interesting. He throws a dark purple Superball in a curved arc that deals 3 damage and gives you defense down level 1 for 2 turns. Here's where things get dark though. Nubador's supposed grave is actually seen in the pre-prologue with Red and Blue looking at it. Since the events of Blocktails takes place in the past before the pre-prologue, there's a chance we might actually see what happened to him in the final chapters of the game. Chapter 1 Bosses. Moving into Chapter 1, the bosses get significantly more challenging and interesting. Number 3 we have Supreme Ant. Supreme Ant kicks off Chapter 1 as a giant ant boss you'll encounter in the ice caves. She's a direct reference to the Titanic ant from Earthbound, which should give you an idea of what you're in for. This abnormally large humanoid blue ant has multiple limbs, making her basically just a big blue and very angry ant that wants to ruin your day. With 15 HP, Supreme Ant keeps things relatively simple but effective. Her Munch attack has her walking towards you and biting with those massive mandibles for 2 damage. Call for Help is where she attempts to summon an ant army, but honestly they're all pretty weak so it doesn't really matter. While you might normally feel bad about making the Supreme Ant literally explode, those ants were pretty annoying anyway. Number 4 Banished Knight. The Banished Knight serves as a mini-boss that can be encountered in the Snowy Thicket and in Telemon's Manor. This poor guy was banished by the cruel king for failing him too many times, and he was desperately trying to regain his trust. Unfortunately, since you end up killing the Cruel King, his goal shifts to training a new generation of knights instead. This fallen warrior has pale blue skin, darkened chainmail legs, a black armored helmet, and carries a sword that's seen better days. With only 8 HP, he's not the toughest fight, but his single move stab is direct and effective. He moves forward and immediately swings his sword at you. Number 5. Spiky Killbot. The Spiky Killbot is another boss lurking in the snowy thicket, and this mechanical menace is created using Telemon's crafting jewel accessory. It's a reference to the Killbots created by Shedletsky, appearing as a gold-colored spiky sphere that's both spiky and has flying attributes. This means using swords or balls against it doesn't work effectively, making it a tactical puzzle. Despite having only 2 HP, don't underestimate this floating death ball. Its stab attack deals a whopping 4 damage, and its rocket fires a projectile that deals 4 splash damage to your entire party. It's a glass cannon that can seriously mess up your day if you're not prepared. Number 6. Sentient Statue. The Sentient Statue is exactly what it sounds like, a statue that gained consciousness and decided violence was the answer. You can find this stone menace in the hallway of Blackrock Castle, and it'll reappear in the pit to haunt you later. And floor 19 of the pit decides to spawn 4 of them because the game apparently hates you. This gray pedestal holds a knight wielding a sword pointing downward, complete with a darker gray visor and a fin on top of its head. With 14 HP, it brings 2 moves that'll make you question your life choices. Statue Smash is the easier of the 2, where it moves up and slams down on you twice for 2 damage each slam. Unexpected Zoom is exactly what it sounds like. The statue moves back a little and then almost instantly zooms forward, dealing 4 damage to one player. Or if you're in a party, 8 damage to everyone, which makes it the first enemy in Chapter 1 to have a multiple hit attack. Number 7. Cruel King. The Cruel King serves as the final boss of Chapter 1, and you'll find him waiting in his throne room for the ultimate confrontation. The schizophrenic king froze over his entire kingdom because the voices in his head told him it would be destroyed otherwise. The voices he's hearing are actually a result of him wielding the ice dagger, because apparently those swords corrupt everyone around them except for you. You're literally just built different. This results in you having to fight and kill a king who actually had good intentions. But hey, at least the kingdom isn't freezing anymore. Too bad the penguins have to move out though. The Cruel King has a white head, black arms, dark red torso, gray legs, a royal crown, a scepter, the ice dagger, and his tongue is sticking out of his mouth. With 30 HP and 4 devastating moves, the Cruel King does not mess around. His Scepter strike allows him to point his scepter at you to cause an icy mist that implodes, dealing 5 damage to your whole party and giving everyone the frozen debuff for 1 turn. Freezing Stab has him walking up and quickly stabbing you with the ice dagger for 5 damage plus frozen level 1 debuff for 1 turn. Call for Help lets him whistle and slam his scepter on the ground twice, summoning either a loyal knight or crossbow crony to complicate your life. His refreshing heal is deceptively simple. He heals himself and all enemies for 1 health while giving them defense up level 1 for 2 turns. The only way to get the Cruel King on your side and bring him to his senses is to beat him up 6 times in the Cold Nirvana, which makes him realize the voices are lying and you aren't actually evil. This gives you the Call Cruel King card that lets you summon him as an ally, though he appears as a ghost because, well, he's dead, you killed him. Chapter number 2 cranks up the difficulty and introduces some truly memorable encounters. At number 8 we have Komodo Dragon. The Komodo Dragon is an angry mother who wants to fight you because using dynamite to blow up the debris the Griefer set up startled her. She's honestly the best original character in the whole chapter, and you can encounter her in the rugged rainforest before she reappears on floor 29 of the pit. This olive-colored Komodo dragon has 2 simple black eyes, a snout, 4 limbs, and a tail that's just as long as her body. With 20 HP, she brings 3 moves that showcase why you don't mess with a protective mother. Venom Bite has her crawling up to bite you for 4 damage while applying a poison debuff for 4 turns. Growl lets her use up a turn to roar, giving herself the fast attribute for 3 turns. Her tail smack is the real threat though. She crawls up, winds up her tail, and whips you for 5 damage plus attack down level 1 for 3 turns. She actually comes to her senses and realizes you helped her by blowing up that debris. She decides to let you into her nest, where you obtain rocket boots, proving that sometimes violence really does solve problems. Number 9. Bigfoot. Bigfoot is a regular giant ape who was just minding his own business until you decided to run over him, which understandably made him hate your guts. You first encounter him while driving the Jeep through the mud roads, when he comes to steal the iron sword you got and emotes after doing it. The final time you encounter him, not counting floor 20 of the pit, is when you shake him out of a large tree and have to fight him. This brown furred beast has tan skin, lots of hair on his head, 2 beady eyes, a round nose, and a toothy smile that's probably not as friendly as it looks. With 30 HP and 5 moves, Bigfoot brings the pain in multiple ways. Bigfoot Stomp has him stomping on you twice for 3 damage each stomp while applying the small attribute for 2 turns per stomp. Spin Slam is a ranged attack where he jumps high into the sky while spinning horizontally, then slams down on your whole party for 6 damage and the small attribute for 2 turns. Vine Swing showcases his jungle skills as he jumps on a vine and swings 4 times really fast, with each swing dealing 1 damage and poison for 2 turns. He can use up a turn to apply charge to himself, which represents Bigfoot's anger building up. His final move, Stomp Fury, only occurs when he has charge or attack up, and it's devastating. He walks up and stomps you 3 times while punching for 1 damage per hit and the small attribute for 3 turns, and these hits pierce through defense. Number 10. Griefer. Griefer, whose real name is Thaniel, serves as the main antagonist of Chapter 2. This schizophrenic teenager who's actually 21 constantly causes trouble throughout the chapter because he desperately wants to get his hands on the Venom Shank. His father is Mayor Thaniel, who apparently can pick up the Venom Shake for reasons that aren't entirely clear. Since Griefer is in his rebellious edgy phase at the young age of 21, he kidnaps his father and plans to force him to pick up the sword. This guy was the one who ordered Red and Blue to attack Shedletsky, and he has a crippling soda addiction from drinking over 1,300 cans of Bloxy Cola and Witch's Brew. Whether it's the schizophrenic voices in his head or just his personality, half of what he says replaces regular letters with numbers, and he's always talking in caps locks. Despite the awful first impression Griefer gives when he kidnaps his father, he wasn't always a bad person. He probably wasn't hearing voices when he was good. He rocks white skin, gray gloves, a neon green leather jacket with red finishes, a belt, a grain chain across his right leg, black and red pants with red finishes and pockets, shoes, the red fang face, and the red grind hat. In your first fight with him, Griefer has 24 HP and 4 moves that showcase his crowbar skills. Slam has him jumping into the air and spinning to perform a slam with his crowbar for 4 damage and the slow attribute for 3 turns. Crowbar Smack lets him walk up and quickly swing his crowbar down, pause for a moment, then swing sideways for 3 damage each hit and slow for 3 turns. Griefer Charge Up is pretty self-explanatory, and Super Slam only occurs with Charge Up or Attack Up, dealing 6 damage and making you dizzy for 3 turns. The second time you fight Griefer, he's obtained the Venom Shank by literally putting his father's hands, already tied up, around the sword and pulling him up. Now, he has 40 HP and 3 new moves while keeping his old ones. Strong Crowbar Smack works the same as before but deals 4 damage instead of 3. Venom Slice has him walking up, pulling out the Venom Shank, doing a quick spin, slicing you for 8 damage while poisoning you for 3 turns. Venom Spin only occurs with charge or attack up and is pure nightmare fuel. He walks up, pulls out the Venom Shank, swings down, winds it up briefly, and does his best Beyblade impression, hitting you 4 times for 2 damage per hit and inflicting poison for 3 turns. Number 11, we have Bubonic Plant. After beating Griefer for the second time, he pulls out the "I don't care anymore" card, and you know you're cooked. He stabs himself in the leg and transforms into the Bubonic plant, the final boss of Chapter 2. You can encounter this abomination in the same place you fought Griefer, but like the Cruel King, he can also be fought in the Toxic Nirvana, with slightly different dialogue each time. Bubonic plant is a dark green leafy nightmare with 8 bug-like tendrils, 2 black arms at its side, all connected to a green ribcage, a neck attached to the ribcage, and an elongated jaw covered in leaves. With 40 HP, he's significantly harder than Griefer ever was. Big Bite is his opening move, where he moves towards you, strains his neck, snaps at you for 8 damage, and poison for 3 turns. Tendril Fury is probably the hardest move to dodge besides Plant Rush. It makes Bubonic plant moves towards you, burrow in the ground, and shoot 2 Vons from the back and front at rapid speeds, each dealing 4 damage and inflicting poison. Venom Charge is a simple charge move that makes him fast for 3 turns. Plant Rush is an absolute nightmare that only occurs with charge or attack up, causing Bubonic plant to walk up and fire his lower tendrils at you 3 times before thrusting his arms at you 6 times, with each hit dealing 1 damage. Acid Rain caps off his moveset by shooting 5 poisonous balls into the air that randomly target and rain down on your party, each dealing 2 damage. Sad music plays as his father breaks down since his son is now a giant green plant monster. For the next 2 chapters, this tragedy hangs over the story, but once you reach Chapter 4, you can eventually earn the Call Griefer card, making him your ally. Number 12, Supreme Mosquito. Supreme Mosquito is a super boss that apparently always existed in the game, though many players are just now hearing about it. You can encounter this giant mosquito in the Teratopulus forest by the exit or entrance of the Fire Anthill. Not much to say about her appearance, she's literally just a giant mosquito that most people didn't even know existed. With an insane 60 HP and 3 moves, Supreme Mosquito doesn't mess around. Call for help is self-explanatory, spawning only a single mosquito swarm. Double Pierce lets her fly in 2 loop-de-loops in front of you, stabbing when she reaches the bottom, with each stab dealing damage and piercing defense. Poison Pierce is her final move, where she thrusts her long pointy nose at you for 8 damage and poison for 3 turns. Since she's a mosquito, this move kills her for the damage she dealt. Supreme Mosquito was originally supposed to be the final boss of Chapter 2, but thankfully that was scrapped. This would have been a terrible final boss. She's heavily related to Supreme Ant somehow, which raises question about what exactly is going on with these oversized bugs in the Blocktails universe.